my lunacy, it all breeds from lies. You tell me you are the drug, got high off buzz, even now it haunts me. I'm floating down as I slowly touch the ground. I'm thinking how you ruined me. I cry for
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the MNSpiritCast. Hope everybody is having a great day. We have another great show lined up for you guys with our returning guests, Forget Me Not Paranormal. It's Melissa and Corey. How we doing?
Good.
How are you guys?
How are you?
Hanging in there, doing the best.
Good.
And, of course, we got our co-host, Brandon, right over here. How's it going, man?
Doing good.
So first of all, before we get the show started, we want to remind everybody that this show is supported by the Global Ghost Hunt. Please go and check out the Global Ghost Hunt at www.globalghosthunt.com. Register your team for a 10-day event in May and October 2023 with full team support and full location support. It's an amazing event. This show is also sponsored by DeesGhost.com and the one and only Paranormal Consultant. Welcome.
Maybe I don't see any paranormal consultant.
Maybe.
Look at Lurker. But anyways, we have an amazing show for everybody. It's been a while since we've seen you guys, so let's catch up a little bit. How's everything been for Forget Me Not Paranormal?
I've been moving along pretty well. We're doing moving along a lot of the spirit vessel investigations, a lot of cleansing. A lot of our videos are kind of explaining some of the things that we do. Especially with the spirit vessels, we've been rehoming.
Yeah, we're adopting them out.
Yeah, and so we've been doing a lot of things based on questions that some of the potential caretakers have had and things like that. So it's been busy.
Yeah.
It's definitely been busy. So
It sounds like it.
a lot of reading.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah. So
Well, just to fill you guys in a little bit, our team's been kind of busy as well. We shot an episode over the weekend, and Brandon, you're here to vouch for me, man. It was an eventful investigation. So we drive almost 3 hours to a cemetery to film an episode, and we
To
get
deal with a Karen.
Yes. Yeah, exactly, and I'll get into that. But we're investigating, and while we're investigating, we're cleaning up gravestones and all that too, because there's some really old gravestones there. And we're sitting there, we're doing our investigation. My car is parked here, right? Okay, and then Nicole's car is parked here, and then Rochelle, and then Cara and Brandon were parked right here in the entrance of the in the entrance of the cemetery. And then I think it was like a giant Toyota RAV4 or whatever pulls in behind my car, blocks my car in, and comes up to Kendra, who was sitting beside the car, and asked what we were doing there. And she says what we're doing there or whatever. So this lady comes up to the fence that surrounds the cemetery, stands there with her arms like this, and just watches us. And then we all get up and we walk away to go to a new spot. She's like, "What are you guys doing here?" And we tell her we're looking at some history. We're cleaning up the cemetery. Granted, this is a lady from the Cemetery Association.
Oh,
Never heard of that before. And let's just say we dealt with a Karen over the weekend.
wow.
And
You called the cops.
Yeah, cops were called. Cops were called and everything. Cops were not only called by this Karen, but the cops were also called by our team to give them a fair warning of what we were doing there. So the cop comes down, the cop talks to this lady, and then he comes in, he talks to us and gives us full rights to be there, because it is a public cemetery until 9:30 at night. So we had full access, and we had full everything to be in this cemetery. And this lady even took it to the extreme of telling that cop to look in the back of Cara and Brandon's vehicle for a headstone to see if we stole the headstone. So crazy. I'm telling you, it was nuts.
I looked at the cop. I'm like, go ahead and come back here and look. You're only going to find electronics.
Exactly. Nicole says
he gave me a thumbs up. He's like, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, she wanted the cops to check our vehicles for stolen headstones.
Yeah, who steals that? That's ridiculous.
How stupid can we be?
Right. Yeah. No, we had a similar experience.
Into
the kind of seedy part of Fresno. There's a house down there. What's left of a house. It belonged to Marcus Wesson, who was the guy who molested his daughters and committed mass suicide in the house. And the land now that his house sat on is like way down into the bad part of Fresno. And it's gone. The land was sold to the transit authority to build infrastructure for the new high school. So publicly, we were good to go on to it. There's no fence around it. It's right on the road. It's by the railroad. It's like a set of apartments and a couple of houses that are right there on the corner. Right? Lights or anything. We just came with our camera and a couple things came out because it looks neater when it's at night, right? And you get more activity when it's like in that kind of dusk period.
Yep.
Because there's posted no trespassing or anything else like that. We get out there, we set up, and there's this low, maybe about chest high, like cinder block wall that separates this property that Wesson lived on and this like 4 or 5 unit apartment complex. And these two women come out smoking, but we could clearly see each other because the cinder block wall is only about, chest high.
I was on the ground for that.
Right. And these women, they had...
You had the right idea.
They had tattoos all over them and things, and obvious gang affiliations and things like that. Kind of the par for the course for the neighborhood, right? And they just start screaming at us what we were doing there. And I kind of introduced us as Forget Me Not Paranormal. We were just there to do an investigation. It only take about 15 minutes.
I was still on the ground.
Right? And they started yelling at us about calling the cops, we're bringing demons around. And just...
Wow.
And I compromised with them. I said, look, we're not here to, interfere with anybody or bother anybody. If we move away from where your wall, would that make you feel more comfortable? They're like, right? And then they call their men out, and then all of a sudden they're acting like they're going to call some friends, right? Because I know they're not going to call the cops. Neighbor, I've worked in some of those days. The cops aren't going to call. They're going to call their friends. And then we conducted the investigation from the car nearby the property, and then we were just circled by cars the whole time. And you kind of get a little weird about stuff, but it's like if you just talk to us, and don't start jumping down people's throats.
Right. So the way I look at it, like, if we're not bothering anybody and we're not hurting anything and we're not destroying anything,
right?
What is it anybody's business?
Hey, how are you?
It is not that. That doesn't look like the consultant.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
What's
I am
up?
filling in for Matt tonight, and
Okay.
he's kind of tired, so he just wanted to have the night off. So
Okay.
I'm filling in for him for a little bit.
Hey, bad to the bonus here. Welcome to the show. Thank you.
Guys.
Thanks for coming. So we covered our crazy experiences that happened recently. Now, if anybody is watching right now who does not know Forget Me Not Paranormal, let's hear a little bit about Forget Me Not. What do you guys solely base your team off of? Just spirits and ghosts, or do you expand to like UFOs, Bigfoot? What all do you do?
So far, we just kind of stick with the spirit realm. We don't do a lot. There isn't a lot of opportunity for cryptid type things here. There's some things. We've been out to a place called Lost Lake that supposedly has one. Of course, we never saw anything. It's not that we don't believe; we just don't have much opportunity to.
Sure.
You know, we've tried to talk to a few people who've said that they've had UFO experiences, but they want to remain anonymous with it. So beyond that, we've kept with the spiritual things, especially with home investigations, area investigations, and spirit vessels.
That's our favorite, finding homes for.
Yeah.
Okay. I see that you guys have been dealing with several spirit vessels recently. You have your spirited dolls and all that kind of stuff. Now, how is all that going? I mean, like, have you been able to help any spirits recently, or like has everything just kind of been a struggle to help release all of this?
Oh yeah, no, we've had a wild ride. We've done more than we do like the haunted areas. I mean, they bring a lot of spirit activity. But in living next to what we live next to, it's been the activity has definitely ratcheted up because they're here. As far as moving them on, I think
we've had a couple.
We've had about 3.
No.
Crossed over.
Now some do it on their own. So we've done a birthday party.
Raina.
A crossing over one where played. Yeah, and they tell us when they're ready. And then a couple that are still kind of feel they need to, but they're still working out. So.
Right, and that's been kind of the basis of what we're doing a lot of our videos on, explaining that process and what we're learning with that. You know, they make their decisions. You can't force them. We don't try to offend them by trying to force them. But it's been an interesting experience on how that process works and what their reasons kind of to first inhabit the vessel is, and then some of their reasons for leaving it. We have one that's getting ready to go. He's told us that he's kind of getting ready to go. But he's scared. You know, he's terrified of what lies beyond. So we've been working kind of with that. They communicate with us all the time, not just through our devices, but dreams. And I mean, my abilities have kind of. There's a couple of them I can hear that give me stuff in my head. Our youngest son, he's been like talking with him all the time. We've been dealing with fights between them, and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's been interesting.
But they've all worked together to help us because where we live, through everything that attacked us and we had to get removed. Now it's bigger than all. Everybody works together and they protect each other and us. So it's kind of a cool relationship of everyone.
Awesome.
Hey, Marcus.
Like all of the background noise here is making the show lag. So I'm trying to minimize some noise somehow.
You might want to go back and rewatch this video later, because I swear that after you said Raina, she said Raina.
I thought so too, Brandon. I seriously thought
Really?
so. If it wasn't her,
Am I the only one that heard that, or did anybody else?
I definitely heard it.
Okay, now I have to go back and watch.
I thought it might have been his wife, but I wasn't sure. I was like,
Hi, Lisa.
Lisa's
So,
ours.
Yeah, she has.
what's up?
She's taken a couple of ours, so we've.
Oh, okay. Okay, so everybody is saying that after I said Raina, Raina said Raina.
Oh
Wow.
Right?
Nice.
Am I
Go back
saying
and
that
report
right?
that.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't hear it, but I'll go back and watch.
And record it so you can have it.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So we've heard about your team. We've heard about crazy experience, everything. So let's go back to the beginning. Before you started Forget Me Not Paranormal. Why did you start a team? Was there an interest there always? Did maybe you wanted to take it to a more professional level? What made you want to start a team?
I've always had experiences even as a kid, and that just kind of drove the curiosity about it. But even more so, it's about wanting to find a way to provide people who are similar experiences to that someone they can reach out to. And I know that was kind of my motivation, because growing up with some of these paranormal things happening and not having anyone to talk to was a troubling experience as a kid. Missy, you've had...
I think mine was more, I just like spirits better than living people. So they're just more interesting, and it's easier to talk to them, and you don't have the same awkwardness. So
True.
I like helping spirits. That's my thing.
Right. It all started with us. We had activity every place we lived, and it got more and more aggressive, and then that let us try to find a way to communicate what was here, and that eventually led to us pursuing it more professionally. As we did more and developed our skills more.
Okay. And what made you want to start collecting these spirit vessels? Was did you feel like you, first of all, how did you collect your first spirit vessel? And after that, was it an interest to kind of grow and help more, or how did that all play out?
It actually kind of happened by accident. I noticed there was a guy that had it on of Jesus, and he said it was doing all kinds of things, and I was like, oh, I gotta have this. I don't know why, but I gotta have it. And I knew it was probably negative, but I was like, we can do it. We can figure this out. And so he's like, all right, get it. So we set up a storage unit for it. We did the whole 9 yards to keep it out of the house so we could work with it there. And eventually it proved to be a little bit too much, because to do the things that we needed to do, you couldn't have a storage unit lady walking by every 2 seconds peering in. And
yes. She was nosy.
So we ended up having to give it to the Warren Society, the grandson that he has a priest that took him.
As a bishop.
Yeah, and but it was interesting. Like, that was our first experience working with something that was negative. After that, I was like, well, let's try more positive ones, because then they can live with us, and we can work with that way. So every once in a while, we'll get a negative one that pops in that we didn't know. So we always have them read by mediums. My son reads them, and then I also send them out to have them read. And every once in a while you get one that has something lurking inside you didn't know, and it comes out over time. But for the most part, we try to, vet them, because I really don't, we're not into, other people can do that, and I don't mind giving them to them, but that's not.
More negative things, but you crossed a guy who had a huge collection of them. Yeah. And that's really where it started, after the icon. Yeah. A guy out of New York with his aunt. Yeah, he kind of gave us a lot of them. And so he's the one that's given us our protector spirits that have stayed. So it just kind of spiraled from there.
Right.
Yeah. So
well, sounds like the one that you were talking about, you had lurkers stuck in a vessel, huh?
Yeah. I want to hear about that one.
That's what I took from it. Oh, that's awesome. Squeakers, you've never had them on your show before, have you?
No, we had them on once, I think, at the very beginning.
Yep.
This is
In fact, I need to get you guys on for part 2.
Yeah.
well, this is our part 2, and if anybody is tuning in late, we appreciate you watching the show. Later on, we do have a surprise apparently from Squeakers,
Yeah.
which is from Matt to Squeakers to us. So we'll get to that later, but we are here with Melissa and Corey from Forget Me Not Paranormal, and we were just talking about how they first started their team. Since we are at the very beginning of your paranormal career, do you remember your very first investigation at all?
Oh gosh, yes, we do. It was actually in our home.
Oh,
Because it was that our whole motivation was to try and give whatever was trying to contact us an opportunity to do that.
mhm.
And that was where we actually encountered the gin that we had so much use with afterward. And then after that, it just this kind of rabbit hole of other spirits that wanted to speak. And we couldn't figure out that anytime we went to other locations, we would get a couple of people and like that wanted to talk. But every time we were here, it was like we're lining.
And you could see we have you could see the head bobbing on the fence line.
Right.
And they were telling me they were making a line
to do it. And we couldn't figure out why that was here until we had spoken to a psychic friend of ours who said, well, you have this vortex right. And we said, well, what's the difference between a vortex and like a portal? He said, well, a vortex is something you can close and anything can come through it. And so we just have a huge number of people from all over the place. Because I remember that second we said, okay, name and a place and maybe a year that's associated with you, and we'll see if we can find your obituary. And I know on that second investigation, we just had one app. That was all we were using. We verified 5 people and their obituaries.
They just wanted to know.
Yeah, and it was crazy how many people came through who gave us verifiable information. And so we're like, well, I mean, and so they just kept coming.
Yeah. And
so it was kind of like at that point, we couldn't deny them the opportunity to speak. And so we just got hooked from there.
And so we've met the owner of the land that this apartment is built on. So he comes in. I call them free agent spirits. So we have the ones that are in their spirit vessels, and then we have the ones that circle through. And there's the negative spirits, and then there's the demonic spirits, and then there's just people. And we have another guy who followed us from a park, and he lets us know he's there. We have another guy who followed us from a cemetery. He comes to my work because the cemetery is actually close to my work. So I'll talk with him at work because he likes it better there than he does here with all the drama. And so, I mean, it's just fun. There's a little boy that he had been murdered. We were able to verify all that. So he stays here sometimes. There's a grandpa that hides out in the back.
Yeah, he talks to our sons.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things. So there's the free agents, and then there's the ones that are in the vessel, and then there's the ones that we have. I have about 40 now that are in our storage unit that are going to be looking for homes. And so it's just there's spirits everywhere.
Yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned that you on your second investigation, all you had was an app. Now that actually brings me to a question that I haven't asked in a very long time. How do you feel about phone apps? Do you feel that they're fake, or are they effective, or does it depend?
I mean, I think our personal experience, is that we've gotten verifiable information from them. And nothing that's been said through them has been anything that's on our word bank or anything else that's attached to our email list or anything else. And I know kind of how they work. I'm not a technocrat. I don't know exactly how they work, But I can say that, given our experience, the information that we've gotten, they've been effective. Now, what we do in later time, now that we've purchased more analog equipment, we verify that with the analog equipment. So I think if you're going to use apps, I mean, to me, I'll advocate for them, especially certain ones. There's some that you're kind of like, yeah, no.
There's only 3 we use.
Yeah, there's only 3 in specific ones that we found that we've been able to consistently get good results with, and have been able to verify through analog-based technology, REM pods, bullet laws, cat lights,
dowsing rods,
K2 meters. I don't know if that's really a technology, but it's something that's physical that they can manipulate to verify things. So sometimes what we'll do is, if we get someone who contacts with an app, we'll say, can you also touch this device? And we can get communication going on between those 2 things. And I think that kind of gives some credence to what's going on. You get nonsense, but you get nonsense with anything. I mean, nothing works perfectly, but I think overall it's a good tool. I just wouldn't rely on that alone. I would use other things to also verify.
Right. Sorry, go ahead.
See, that's what we do. Is we'll do a spirit box session for a little while, and then we'll do one of the app sessions for a little while, and we'll try to get both of them to kind of come together, with the same questions and the same kinds of answers and whatnot.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And
spirit box with that too.
And it all depends on the investigation too. Sometimes we'll start out with the SB7, and then once we're not really getting anything from that, we'll switch over to the phone app. Right. And sometimes, if you're lucky, then you'll get voices that are the same that were coming through the SB7 are also coming through this app. If you don't mind me asking, what apps do you guys use?
We tend to stick with GhostTube.
Just not the SLS, but GhostTube, Vox, and GhostTube.
We use that one.
Yeah, and then we use Necrophonic, and then we use Spirit Talker.
Spirit Talker. We've
never heard of that last one.
The Spirit Talker. It's a group out of England. They use it a lot. They developed it. I first thought it was kind of hokey because it's got like a graphic of a coffin and stuff like that. So I was kind of like, I don't know about that. But some of the spirits have found it easier to use.
So we use them both together.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes we'll use both together. And again, like you were talking about earlier, is that, every investigation is different. And the spirits sometimes that you encounter will prefer one type of communication over another. And we'll find that some devices are easier to use than others. We've come up with ones that don't like using cat balls. They're like, no, I ain't doing that. But others of them that love using them. We have a spirit vessel here. The only thing he uses is the REM pod. And the part of the REM pod he likes to use is the temperature gauge. He'll fluctuate the temperature to answer questions.
And his friend will use the light.
His friend will use the light.
That's the only thing they use. They're like,
they don't use anything else. Not that they can't use the other thing, it's just what they prefer to use. And so there's of the people that you're dealing with too. So it is. I'm sure your experience as well. When you're doing an investigation, you have a lot of tools in your toolkit because you don't know what's really going to be a preferred communication method, and to verify between the different things that you're using to verify what you're getting.
Yeah. I think with us, we've noticed that I think the apps are actually a little bit easier for them to come through. Whereas a spirit box, they have to work more to get through to be able to say what they're trying to say.
Right. You've noticed the same, yeah.
Well, and also when you're doing a session, I've noticed not only does the voices come through more clearly on the GhostVox app, but also when we're using the spirit box, I don't understand why, but the static and like the white noise of it just completely tunes me out, and I can't even focus.
Right.
So I don't know what it is,
Yeah, it's something that, like, there's some psychological thing that just makes it difficult. It kind of masks what's
going on. Because we're always like, what?
Yeah.
What is that?
And it's usually with the spirit box, that, like you were saying, we don't really capture everything that's said on it until we review the footage and slow that down. And
Yes.
then filter some of that out. And it's amazing that, we've gotten people saying, "I'm here. Don't you hear me?" on the spirit box, and at the time we didn't. It was difficult for them to get their
That's a guy thing. Rochelle. Man, they love picking on the founder, I swear. So
If
actually,
you wouldn't make it so much fun.
Whatever. Tonight I do have two questions that I haven't asked anybody on Minnesota Spiritcast yet. I've asked this question before, but it was when we had our other show. I want to bring this question back, and I'll get to that question here in a little bit. But let's talk a little bit about a few more of your investigations that you did. You did the Haunted Del Rey Cemetery, and that one looks super interesting. Let's hear a little bit about that one.
Yeah, Del Rey is actually one of the rare cemeteries here that isn't like enclosed and locked off and everything. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's out in on the outskirts of Fresno, in the middle of a bunch of orchards. I don't know what they grow. I think it's oranges. Might be oranges that are out there.
Okay.
Miles of orange orchards. And it's a tiny cemetery. Only has about 100 and something people in it. Most of them in the 19th century, but some modern ones that are there. And it's just a great location where there's not a lot of modern encroachment, I guess is the best way to put it. You don't have a lot of light pollution or anything. The only downside to it is the highway next to it is kind of loud because a lot of trucks, semis that go onto it. But other than that, it's been a great place. And we were turned on to it because, as you were talking about earlier about cryptids, there was a legend that there was a cryptid that hung out around there and a shadow. Yeah, there's some sort of a cryptid creature that scurries around, looks kind of like a big rabbit or something.
I don't remember.
Yeah, and then we
never saw it.
Yeah, we've never seen that.
Okay.
But the shadow person we did see a couple times. And so we kept going back to it. And it was there that we picked up the one that follows Melissa.
His name is Deepak. He actually has a YouTube channel when he was alive. And he was an astrologer, a Vedic astrologer.
Yeah.
And so he was right at the height of his career when he had an accident. Yeah.
You said he had a YouTube channel?
He has a YouTube channel, yeah, and still
do we know the channel?
It's called McCall Living. I have to find the spelling, but he had a radio station in the Bay Area, and he was down in this area doing a cleansing, a religious ceremony for a home, and that's when
they got into a car accident. Him and 3 other.
Oh no!
And the semi truck driver.
Right. We had been talking to him there for I don't know, a few months. And we didn't know that's who he was. We never had enough information to put together. And so one day he finally gave us the name
of the
truck driver who died in the accident. And we're like, we thought we were talking to this guy, right? And so Melissa, I'm going to look that name up. And this story came up, right, about the car accident. And so we put it in the Ghost app, and we put in the victim's name, and he picked it right out. It was Deepak.
But the coolest thing was hearing his voice come on the SB7.
Yeah,
I was like, that's his voice, because I went and looked on the channel and heard his voice. That was really cool.
Did you guys ever meet this guy in person?
No, when did he die? Either 2014 or 15. And actually died 30 minutes away from where the cemetery is.
He's not buried.
Yeah, he's not buried there. So I mean, it's why he kept talking about a car accident and being disfigured and burned.
Because they were beyond record, like
they were burned beyond, And we were like, we don't know of any car accidents. Like, we were looking in newspaper articles, we were looking at all kinds of stuff, trying to figure out what a car accident in that area might have been. But it wasn't. So it's the name of the truck driver that connected it to this one. And then
wow.
Now he hangs out with us because he's not ready to go, and helps us cleansings in our house. And he goes to Melissa's work with her.
He was helping me find spirit vessels. I was like, can you tell me if that's I got somebody in it. So we
Yeah,
were doing a
now
catball
he's-
thing.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy. We thought about reaching out to. He has a son back in India,
No, Australia.
Australia. They're Indian in their by nationality.
Okay.
But he's estranged from him, and so the family really hasn't been interested in hanging out.
Okay. So if you guys never met this person and you really had nothing to do with him in real life, why could he be following you? Any theory on that?
I think what it is that he was looking for someone who was willing or capable of talking to him.
Okay.
And he, I think word of mouth in the area, not many groups out in our area do this. We're the only one that we know of. So being that 30-minute radius, word of mouth must have gotten around. Is kind of the thing we were able to put together.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to talk. And so he sought us out one time. And he'd been talking to us for months. We know who he was. And but I think that was his primary reason. Was that he wanted to say something. And that's what we find a lot of them, is that they just want to speak.
Well, we did reach out to one family member that he came in very strong, gave a first name, last name. I could look him up, told me his accident, which was crazy because I had read about the accident that happened just by the house.
Right.
And he wanted to connect with his son. And so that was hard because I didn't know how to broach that with somebody. So I did send a message to his wife. She never responded, but at least I did what he wanted.
Right.
And we haven't heard from him. I think it was enough maybe to at least move on from that.
So that's the kind of story we get a lot, is that, there's not many people who do this kind of work. And I think word gets around when we open something up that, hey, there's a way to get a message out if you need a message, or there's a way for someone to hear you. And we just get huge numbers sometimes of them, depending on the location we're at.
Okay. This is completely off topic, but
Okay.
I have a squirrel brain. And I happen to notice something.
What's that?
Brandon, look straight behind Corey and Melissa there, where the two pictures are, and around the shape of both of them.
Mm.
You guys are literally forming the Texas symbol right now.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't even see that. Yeah.
That is so cool.
So, yeah.
I'm sorry, I have a squirrel brain. I happen to notice that.
Yeah, I was like,
That's phenomenal. Sean says we have connected family members as well. It's a beautiful thing when you can do that, It is.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people out there who think that you can't connect people and you can't connect people to their family without using a Ouija board. That is absolutely 100% wrong.
No,
You do not need a Ouija board to contact somebody. There's so many different ways. You don't even need equipment to contact somebody, honestly.
No.
You can use everyday items, and you can make things for these spirits to communicate with other people. You don't need a Ouija board. Ouija boards, they're not 100% useless, because they do have a use within the field, but you need to know how to use them correctly.
Yes.
I'm saying that you don't need a Ouija board to connect family members.
No.
So,
especially if you have gifts. If you have gifts,
yes,
they're going to reach out to you no matter what.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Melissa's even learning how to use the dowsing rods. Now she has a set of dowsing rods and has been practicing a lot using them. Yet another tool in the repertoire for investigations. So yeah, everyday items, just like you were saying, Marcus, can be used as communication devices, right?
Yes.
If you're open enough, they can send you messages straight through your dreams or in your mind.
Yes.
Way. I've gotten messages all the time from things like, what was that? And then all of a sudden later on, you're like, oh, that's what that meant.
Here's how phenomenal the paranormal field is, or even just the spiritual realm. We were dealing with a person out in Michigan, And of course, Michigan, it's a little ways from Minnesota. So we were trying all we could do to help these people without going out to their house first. Because of course, before we investigate, we want to do a walkthrough. We want to see what we're dealing with. We want to do this and that. We were trying to prevent that so we didn't have to travel all the way to Michigan, all the way back to Minnesota, do the paperwork, and go back to Michigan. This field is so phenomenal that we were able to help this. What she said. But we were able to help this person just by telling them to use some parsley. I think it was Italian seasoned parsley and some type of vinegar. And you mix all that together and you spray it around the house. It's going to cleanse a little bit of that negative energy. I don't know if that was the exact potion that we told him about, but even just sprinkling salt around the window panes of your windows, that's going to keep the negative energy out.
Salt,
Yeah, right. That's why I think this field is so crazy, phenomenal, because you can literally use kitchen cooking items to help in this field. It's crazy. It's awesome.
I had a friend, not to get off, I'm not really getting off topic, but I had a friend that he was not really religious, but kind of in between and all the above. And he actually needed some help. And I told him about the salt and the pepper and the coffee and all these things. And he was like, I have all those. I was like, well, then use them.
I would hope so.
he was having like so many
Okay.
And
here's a question for you then, Squeakers. I've never heard of the coffee method. How do you do the coffee method?
The coffee method, you can add it right into the salt too.
Really?
Yep.
So what does that do? I know salt keeps them out. What does the coffee do if you mix it in?
It's more of how do I put it? It just goes along the lines with the protection. I'm not at the top of my head. Do I remember what exactly it does other than to protect?
Okay.
So, and it brings in abundance, just like cinnamon does. So you could put cinnamon and stuff in there. There's all different types of recipes you can find online and stuff, but the best types are the ones that you can use on your own for the different correspondences.
And just to prove that little method about the salt and everything, like I said before the show, or maybe even after the show started, we're dealing with a case out in Finlayson, Minnesota, and it's a private residence, and it's family to me. These people are literally family to me, and they have issues within their house, and that's why we're going there. We did our walkthrough and everything, and I can't say anything because I can't release anything without having the episode done. But we did this walkthrough, and after the walkthrough was over, of course, we went around marking the spots that we want to focus on. But right before we're walking out the door, so this is my sister's mom's house. So her mom pulls me aside, and she's like, Marcus, what can we do to hold us over until you come back? And I'm like, do you have some salt? Do you have some kitchen salt? She looks at me like, what? And I'm like, do you have some salt? So she grabs some salt and she puts it in a bowl, right? And so I take that bowl and we sprinkle some on the window panes and all that, the doorways, whatever. And then we put some in a bowl and we sit it on the dresser in my sister's room. And after we left the investigation, I get a message later that night from her, and it says that the activity died way down after we left this place. Because she said, I don't know what the hell you guys did, but you did something right. Because the activity is not as strong as it was before we went there. And it's all you got to know what to do up here. You got to know how to help.
It has to be on the same length too.
Exactly. You got to know what to do.
Screwed up.
And I can say this: when Minnesota Spirit Hunters goes to a place, it's not only Founder, it's not only Marcus coming up with these ideas. The whole team gets together. We figure out what we can do to help these people. We even had Rochelle there. being our team medium, and Rochelle was astounded with everything that she found out. And the point is that we came up with the solution of using the salt. Brandon, I think you were even suggesting using salt. I don't remember, but
I don't remember.
I don't remember. But the thing is that we were able to help somebody with an hour to 2 hour walkthrough. You know,
That's cool.
and then on September 24th, we're going back out and we're eliminating all that negative energy. But the fact that I got a message later that night saying we made it better for her, that was heartwarming because we done something right.
Exactly.
You know? So
That's what it's all about right there.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. All right. So we are going to take a short intermission. When we come back, we're giving Brandon the floor over here to interview Forget Me Not Paranormal. Also, we're giving Squeakers the floor too to ask anything that she wants. And when we come back, Squeakers has a special gift for Minnesota Spirit Hunters and Forget Me Not Paranormal. And the spirit question and one other question that I would love to bring back to the show. So we got great stuff coming up, and I just realized, guys, that this is supposed to be running across the bottom. But when we come back, we have some amazing content. We are far from done yet, so please stick around. We'll see you guys right back here in a few minutes.
All right. See ya.
And we are back with our amazing guests, Forget Me Not Paranormal. It's Melissa and Chris.
Corey.
Sorry.
That's all right.
See, I've been getting better at that. I used to call you Chris every single time I see you. I've been calling you Corey, and I just broke my streak.
It's all
Darn
good.
it. But we are here with Melissa and Corey from Forget Me Not Paranormal. Before the break, we were talking a little bit about Forget Me Not Paranormal, the stuff that they do, the spirit vessels, all of that. Now we are handing the show over to our co-host Brandon and our special guest Squeakers, who apparently is the consultant tonight. You guys got to confuse me on my own show, so love you for that. So anyway, Brandon, take it away, man.
Well, I was just gonna say you got to be careful with the whole salt thing though too, because like what happened here with me and Kara, you can seal them into places.
Yeah.
Like we salted the doors and windows here when we're talking and trying to cleanse and whatnot, and that night Kara gets pushed on the shoulder, like literally like nudged.
Yeah.
And she wakes up and there's nobody there, and then all of a sudden she's hearing a voice saying door.
You do have to clear them out first and then do the salt as best as you
Yep.
can. And you have to clear the property. If they have property, which I had a situation not too long ago when I was working with Brian James. The people didn't want the property blessed. They just wanted their house blessed for the most part, and a few areas right outside the house. So it was hard because I was like, well, it's not going to take care of the whole thing then. So
Yep.
we really got a clear house.
So, but sorry to cut anyone off. Before we move on any further, Squeakers does have to get going here. So, Raina, sit down before you fall.
Uh-oh.
Down. Before we get going any further, Squeakers, you have a gift for the two teams.
I do. Let me go ahead.
Let's go ahead and grab that gift so we can get you on to your next show.
Can you come in?
If I can do this, I'm going to try to share this without any problems. Oh no, it's going to be a butthead too. Where is it? Did I save it in there? Nope. No, I told Matt I was afraid of this.
Bucket list. Where is a place that you absolutely have to investigate?
Brandon's like, screw this, I'm bored.
Oh, thank you, Brandon.
I really we have never investigated. We stayed there years ago, but I would really love to do an investigation on the Queen Mary. It's been shut down because I guess there was some issue with the city of Long Beach or something, so no one's allowed to go onto it anymore. But if they go around, I'd be willing to pay to go. I think there's some interesting stuff there.
Topano. We're going to go to the Clown Motel.
Yeah.
And which we are November, and we want to visit the Topano graveyard, the cemetery right next door, and then we want to go see the silver mines that have some ghosts. So we're going to take a whole Nevada trip.
You know, while I got you guys here, I have a proposition for you guys. I really do. So we have next year in 2023. I know I said 2022 was going to be the biggest year for us, but right now it looks like 2023 is going to be way bigger. I have a proposition for you guys. We have some great investigations coming up next year. Some include Indiana, Tennessee, Iowa. We have some Minnesota ones, and we have some in multiple different states. Now, after the show, I'm going to message you guys, and I'm going to give you a list of these investigations. I want to see if you guys can join us because we have some big ones coming up. Big ones, I'm telling you.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I've been years since I've been to Tennessee. There were some spooky places in Tennessee.
I actually grew up down in Tennessee, and I grew up in Nashville, and there's this mansion not too far from where I live called the Two Rivers Mansion. And
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Have you? Okay,
Yeah,
so as a former resident of Nashville, I can say when you drive by the Two Rivers Mansion, you don't really get that vibe. Okay.
I've never driven by it.
However, when you start to go down the driveway of the Two Rivers Mansion, and the more further you get to the mansion, that vibe just picks up, man. I swear,
Oh,
it gets worse. It even got to the point one time where we drove up to the mansion and we parked the car right in front of the mansion just because we're curious. You know, it's a beautiful mansion and everything. And my grandma gets out of the car and she goes up to the door of the mansion and she kind of does this little thing. You know how you cuff your hands and look in a window? And I kid you not, she ran from that door, jumped back in the car, and said, "Never again."
Wow.
She said it was so bad that it almost looked as if the paintings on the wall were following you with their eyes.
Weird.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, so that would be super cool. And back then, I'm lucky to be 7 years old.
Oh,
So,
wow.
you know, I'm like, let's get out of here. I want nothing to do with this. I don't want to be around this creepy stuff, you know. And then as I've grown older and I've gotten more into the paranormal, that is such a dream investigation of mine. That Two Rivers Mansion is.
That
I
would be cool.
I would absolutely. I'd give my left leg to investigate that place.
Yeah,
That would be
I
so
bet he
cool.
would too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So I
that would
sent
be
it
so
to
cool.
you. I sent it to you, Marcus. So hopefully you can
Did you?
download it because for some reason my computer's being a butthead. And I
Okay,
apologize.
I will get it downloaded now. And
I've got
before-
two that I really want to do. One of them I would have to travel a long ways, and that's the catacombs in Paris.
yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other one is one in Tennessee. It would be Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If only we could get in that place, that'd be awesome.
That's cool.
You know, there's a new one, Arkansas, in Eureka Springs. Talking about going up to a place and getting a there's an old hotel there that you get the strangest energy. It's haunted. Go did an there years and years ago. I can't remember the name of the hotel, but it's the only Springs. It's a great town in northwest Arkansas. It's an incredible place. But that'd be another one on my bucket list.
That'd be absolutely awesome. All right, before we lose squeakers here, we're going to go ahead and play this gift that Matt has for us here. Sarah, feel free to jump off whenever you're ready. Thank you for being on the show.
You're welcome.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
for the
guys. I apologize.
And you send love to the whole Paracrew podcast from both teams because you guys are absolutely phenomenal. Lots of love to both of
Thank
you.
you.
All three of you. You know, we love you and Lurker a little more than we love Matt, but no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right, guys, without further ado, here is the gift from the paranormal consultant to Forget Me Not and to Minnesota Spirit Hunters. Enjoy.
What's up, Minnesota family? Hello, Melissa, Corey, Forget Me Not. Much love to you guys. Sorry I can't be here tonight, but I just wanted to say or ask a couple of things. First of all, Marcus, how you doing, man? Marcus, how are you? Fine, don't answer me. How rude. But anyway, I just wanted to come on and say how much I really appreciate you guys at Minnesota Spirit Hunters. And, of course, Forget Me Not. Much love to both teams. You guys are literally the definition of para-unity, and I love you guys to death. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep your head up. And, you know, you guys literally do all the right things. You guys are freaking amazing, and I'm very proud of each and every one of you guys. The amount of growth I've seen is just all inspiring. It's great. It's all inspiring. It's motivating. And I wish you both nothing but the best. I love you guys. Big hearts. And as always, happy hauntings. Marcus, I still am waiting on that calendar.
God damn it, man. It's always that calendar.
That's cool.
Man, Matt is throwing some emotion into the Minnesota SpiritCast tonight, man. Lots of love to you, man. Thank you. That was truly appreciated.
Love you.
That was a beautiful video. Thank you. Appreciate it. By the way, I am not going to lie. When he asked me how I was doing in that video, I actually answered, not knowing it was the damn video.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, maybe I'm just saying.
I almost thought that he had somehow jumped in our live tonight, and I was over here answering him. He's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Fine." Oh man, it's crazy. But anyway, Brendan, feel free to take back over. Matt, thank you very much, man. That was beautiful. Haven't got a gift like that from anybody ever, so we appreciate you, man. Everything you do for this field. Check out the P3 program, everybody. It's an amazing program. Both of us teams are part of the program. If anybody wants to join the program for a drama-free and stress-free environment, feel free to message anyone here on the panel, and we will direct you to the right spot. So, Brendan, take it away, man.
Out of all of your equipment, which piece is your favorite?
I mean, for me, I think that it's really the REM pod. I get the most thrill when I can get that thing to work at a location. It doesn't always. I mean, they don't always know how to use it. But, man, someone knows how to use it. It's really cool. So for me, it's a REM pod. I love it.
I always trip out on the bullet lights. Because I'm like, oh, they put it together. Because that's kind of cool. So, but the phones, I mean, the apps, I think are best.
That's our go-to.
Yeah.
You know, that's a beautiful question, Brendan. I'm curious of what your answer is.
You know what my answer is. I love working the camera. Oh, no, I like working the camera.
Yeah.
Because I get to see what's going on behind everybody else.
Yeah.
All right. So in other words, he's our tech geek.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, actually, guys, the story behind Brandon is a phenomenal story because we were looking for one other person to join the Hunters, and we put an application out there, and Brendan's wife, Cara, actually applied to be on the team after watching an episode of this show. And, you know, we ended up hiring Cara and bringing her to a practice investigation, you know, because we like to do little trial runs and everything before we bring people on the team. And Brandon happened to tag along on that investigation. He wasn't asked to film any of the investigation. He was there to enjoy the investigation with us. But the second that Brandon took out the camera and started filming that investigation for us, the way that the camera pointed, the way that he caught all the angles is everything that I want in a camera person.
You're like mine.
Yeah, literally, I'm calling dibs on this mofo. Come on. So, no, but it's been phenomenal. They're going on their first year of being on the team. You know, besides Cara and Brandon, everybody has hit their 1 year on Minnesota Spirit Hunters already. And it's been nothing but a amazing ride all the way since. So, it's phenomenal. We got Cara, Brandon, and their daughter on the team. So it's a phenomenal journey with these guys. So lots of love to you guys, and thank you for everything you do. Brandon, do you have any more questions for them?
What is the scariest thing that you've had happen recently?
Oh gosh, go ahead.
But we have something that comes in here a lot. She's pretty powerful, and so I think it's how she hurts everybody. So there's been like physical attacks and lights. We just had one where our lamp was on, and all of a sudden, someone noticed that it was flickering. Which, okay, you know, so I walked up, and then it starts flickering to the beat of the music.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, So
Well,
that's
that don't sound familiar, does it, Brandon?
so like, contact me, and I said, wait a minute, no, this isn't good. And I was like, you need to go. And so then I had my holy water, and I was praying and spraying, and then it stopped for a second, then it wound back up again, and then it busted the whole lamp. Like it just stopped working. Like we changed you couldn't fix it. Yeah, it was done. Like out the lamp. So that was a little like not cool. We've had stuff thrown out at us, pins and things from the pantry, and bad dreams, and just and that's like an everyday. It just never stops. So we're moving, and we're really excited about that. And in a couple of months, we're hoping that things will kind of
calm down.
Yeah, because they don't want us here. And
for me, it was that Marcus thing. It wasn't the spirits; it was the people, and what kind of friends they were bringing around, or anything else. So I was like, "Let's get this done, get out of here before that goes wild." So the spirits haven't been too bad with me, but the living people, that's more of a butt pucker than anything else.
I kind of had a similar experience a couple weeks ago. I had my phone plugged in on the windowsill here in the bedroom, and my wife has been working on like meditating with her tiger's eye and whatnot, and she woke up and seen like a shadow figure and watched him knock my phone off the windowsill.
Wow.
And in the process, somehow he literally bent my charger at a 90-degree angle.
What?
That's not very.
Oh,
yeah.
That's really physical.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. After that, I was like, all right, I understand that you're here, but please don't touch my stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to put a label on that. That almost seems like poltergeist activity, doesn't it?
Well, kind of. I mean, poltergeist definition is, a spirit that's able to move things and stuff like that,
Well, we did do an episode at Cara and Brandon's house. I don't know if you guys caught that. Yes, it's actually in editing right now. It's been in editing for a while. I need to get it done and put back up. But that was a great episode. We do have another part 2 coming up of their house, and that I can't wait to get our hands back on that house, because when we were there, the activity died down at a certain time. We all just crashed, went to bed, whatever. But part 2, I think it's going to be actually a good investigation. So I'm excited to do that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Now, before we get to our spirited question tonight, the question that I want to bring to the Minnesota SpiritCast is a question that we used to do on our other show called Live Hangout and Interview, which actually, that was a great show, and I kind of missed that show. But we did a question on there for a couple teams, and that question is your pre-investigation setup process and your post-investigation process. How do you do things before the investigation versus how you do things after?
Pre-investigation is really about, kind of scouting the area. First, deciding where we're going to go, kind of scouting the area, and then deciding what kind of equipment is going to be appropriate for it. Not everything is appropriate for every place you go, depending on what kind of, space you have and things like that. So it's a lot of like research. Is there any stories, anything else like that, if we get names, connect that to anything before we go, and then the equipment prep. And then there's this kind of like centering thing you do when you get there, right? And feeling the place out, feeling if you get any vibes, you getting that kind of intuition. And then the post is really cleansing.
Yeah, because I would say we're on a time thing. So like we've never done any long investigations. I think that would be kind of fun at some point. But ours are literally from start to finish, 30, 40 minutes. That's all you get. So whatever happens in those 40 minutes is what you're going to get. So once that camera rolls, we're like, all right, turn the equipment on, go.
Geez, I wish ours were that short. We recently had a 21-hour investigation.
Ooh, that's a lot of editing.
And actually, here in December, we're doing another 21-hour investigation at the same place.
Yeah, those are the types actually we would like to do.
Yeah.
We keep them. We have to kind of short and sweet them because of the kind of hostility in the area toward investigating and things like that. But yeah, that's kind of a goal for us.
It would be fun to. We've never done besides our home,
Well, yeah.
an actual residential investigation.
Right,
So
yeah.
that we would like.
We put it out there, but there isn't a lot of people who are takers with it. There's a lot of apprehension about talking about it in this area. I mean, they think that they're crazy. We even helped relatives of ours who won't tell the other relatives that we're helping them. They want us to keep it secret that we're helping them out with paranormal things that are going on. So I mean, that's part of the goal that we have, is really to help bring some awareness, at least in our immediate area, that hey, this stuff really happens, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. And it doesn't mean that you're crazy or that you're communicating with demons or anything else like that. It's just something that happens.
Absolutely.
And anything else in life, you got to talk about it. And if you want to deal with it, you got to be open about it. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of agree with Nicole here. The overnight investigations are the most fun. I love the overnight ones.
Especially when you get the big couch.
That's what I was about to say. So we're going back to the Boyd house here in December, but we went there back in last December, actually. So we're doing it like a year apart from each other. But there's a big couch on one side of the room. There's a small couch on the other side of the room. Nicole and everybody, Lisa and everybody else was off investigating whatever. All of the furniture was open to call dibs on. I called dibs on the small couch. Wake up the next day, Nicole's stretched out. Little Nicole was stretched out on this big old couch. Here I am, cramped up like a darn caterpillar on this tiny couch. And I was so numb. I bet. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I called dibs fair and square. You know what? I'm freaking calling dibs this year, man. I'm calling dibs.
I think you have to have the couch in sight first.
Yeah, right. Well, we don't get the recliner. That is totally Rochelle's recliner. That's a no-go. Leave me alone, Nicole. I can only do so much. Oh, geez. But anyway, it's all fun. The paranormal field is an amazing field to be in. We not only do it for entertainment for other people, we also do it for joy, and we also do it to help people. And that's what it's all about. It's mostly about helping people. Of course, it's entertaining, and of course, it brings joy to us. But in the end, what you really get out of it is the satisfaction of being able to help not only clients, but also helping spirits as well. And that's the nice thing about it. So that's all I can really say. So anyways, Brandon, how do we end our shows, man?
Spirited question.
All right. Well, you guys have never done one before, so here we go. All right, so the spirited question, we do these on every single episode. Spirited question is basically where I go on the internet and look up burning questions of everyday people who want to know things about the paranormal field, and we like to get opinions from our guests. And tonight, our spirited question is like no other spirited question that we've done. It's different. Anyways, your question tonight is: are bats considered paranormal?
Bats. I mean, not generally. Not that I've heard of. I think they get associated with paranormal because they tend to roost in many of the same areas where paranormal activity can kind of concentrate. I don't know if there's really a link between the two. I mean, historically people thought so, but I think that has more to do with association than it does with anything necessarily.
Being that there might be that association between paranormal and bats, what do you think it could be that attracts the bats to these paranormal areas? Maybe the dark and creepy vibe that you get off of these places?
I think it's I think it's more the peace and quiet and the fact that there's not really anything around there.
Could be.
I think animals generally are a little more, and I think that if there's anything to it, possibly bats have a little more sensitivity to the type of psychic energy that a place might have, and some of it's more comforting to them than others. But in general, I think Brandon's right. It's about, hey, it's peaceful, it's quiet, it's a place I can sleep during the day, because they're nocturnal, and so, and it just so happens that those things kind of correlate with each other. Those types of locations.
And this question I did pull off of online, but also Brandon kind of inspired me about this question because at this investigation we're doing on September 24th, they have a giant shed type garage type thing, and when you shine a light in there's bats flying around up there, and I'm like, I wonder how you get rid of the bats. And Brandon, what was the method that you told me to get rid of them? Or not to get rid of them, but to
there's several different ways that you can get rid of them. One of the ways to catch them alive, to be able to release them somewhere else, you fill a sock full of rocks while they're flying around in the air, while they're hunting, insects, and you throw it up in the air. And a lot of times they go by sonar. So if it reflects off of something back to them, they see prey. So they'll grab onto the sock and come down to the ground with the sock.
Oh, okay.
I was astonished with that. That's amazing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I that. But you're right. Yeah, they do echolocation. So yeah, it might full and it's prey.
See, Kara is right. Kara and Brandon took an air mattress to the Boyd house, and it actually worked, for them. Which next time we see you guys, we have a phenomenal story about the Boyd house of what happened. But you know what I'm talking about, Brandon, the walkie-talkie.
Oh yeah.
All right, we got a couple minutes here now. Kara and Brandon, they take a short little nap in between the investigation. I'd say between midnight and 2 a.m. because
somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah,
we laid down. We put the walkie-talkie behind us, right off of the air mattress behind us. And when me and Kara woke up, we got up, went to grab the camera, went back to getting, to investigating. And we both were looking around. We're like, where the heck did the walkie-talkie go? So we found it. It was laying, a little bit further away than where we had set it. Well, when we picked it up and we started looking, Kara's looking at it and she's like, where'd the button go? The button that you push to talk was literally ripped off of the walkie-talkie.
What?
And put on.
That's not the end of it. We walk into the kitchen of the Boyd house, and on top of her wallet, there's the button from the walkie-talkie.
No way.
Wow.
On top of her wallet. How phenomenal is that?
Yeah.
You gotta pay for another one.
Right. Well, we have tons of walkie-talkies, so it really wasn't a big deal. But it's just the fact that none of us were around this walkie-talkie. Nobody touched it. They went to bed. They expected to use it when they woke up. It was torn apart when they woke up, and I'm trying to figure out how that button got into the kitchen on top of her wallet.
Oh,
That's cool though.
That's cool.
We were sleeping. You guys were all investigating, so I don't know what the heck happened.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand. But to end the show, it's a ghost, it's an orb, it's Batman. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for an amazing show. You've been a great panel, great guest. This is Forget Me Not Paranormal. Melissa and Corey from Forget Me Not Paranormal. Second time being on the show. You guys are always phenomenal guests. We will look forward to a part 3 if you guys are down for it. So, absolutely. Well, you guys have been great. Make sure to go check out Forget Me Not Paranormal. All the links are down in the description of this podcast. And go follow them on YouTube, Facebook, whatever is down there. Feel free to follow them, and that's why it's there. So, Melissa, Corey, you guys are an amazing team, and look forward to talking to you guys again. And I look forward to seeing some more work with these vessels and stuff.
Awesome.
You guys
Thank
have
you.
fun coming up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I will get that list over to you and see what investigation you guys would like to do with us.
Right on.
right.
Absolutely.
Take
All
care.
right. Well, lots of love to you guys. Thank you for being part of the show once again. Looking forward to a part 3. You guys are an amazing team. And just keep up the good work. And that's all you got to do. So, all right. Have a good night. See you later.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, that is Forget Me Not Paranormal with Melissa and Corey. They are a 2-person team out of California. Would be an amazing team to investigate with, but we're going to slowly work our way up there to investigating with these guys. Kara says, "Well, I went looking for it at first. Went out for a smoke, and it was sitting right on the table on my wallet, and that's exactly how it happened. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But anyways, Brandon, always a phenomenal show. All the time. Great co-hosts. Can't wait for the next one. I don't remember who the next one is, but I'm going to tell you just here in a second. Oh, okay. So we have Liz in 2 weeks on Saturday. Liz is right here back on the Minnesota SpiritCast for the first time since season 2. We're gonna dig into some UK experiences that she's been dealing with recently. So you ain't gonna want to miss that. You guys, please go follow Forget Me Not Paranormal. All their links are down below. All the Minnesota Spirit links, Minnesota Spirit Hunters links are also down below. Check out DeesGhost.com. Use code MNSH for 10% off of your order. Check out the Paranormal Consultant and check out the Global Ghost Hunt. Register your team today for full location support, full team support. It's a 10-day event, 2 times in 2023. That is May and October 2023. I think that's all I have, Brandon. How about you?
Just keep hunting.
Keep hunting. It's always phenomenal being on these shows with you guys. I absolutely love doing this show. We're in the middle of season 3 right now, and I never expected this show to go that far. Honestly, never expected it to go past season 1. I didn't think it was something that I'd be interested in, but I love doing this show. So, and of course, all of you amazing people who are always watching from the audience, lots of love to you. Matt, thank you for your special announcement tonight. That meant a lot, man. And, hopefully you get some sleep and everything. But we will see you guys back here on Saturday, September 10th for a special show with the one and only Liz from the UK. And then we have an investigation afterwards. So that's going to be fun too. So until then, I hope you guys have a great weekend, a great night. And as always, happy hunting.
You know how we do. Big up to this crew. From day 1 till it's done, do or die, me and you. Big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive. You know how we do. Big up to this crew. Got props non-stop and mad love for you. Rising up like the moon, elevating the mood, uplifting attitudes, cause that's what we choose to do. And I don't know about you, but there's enough negativity going around with plenty room to improve. Yeah, sometimes we collide with stress and negativity. We always let it slide. It's an elevated vibe, so fly. We touch the sky every time we ride. Big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive. You know how we do. Big up to this crew. From day 1 till it's done, do or die, me and you. Big up to this crew. Yeah, we like to keep it positive. You know how we do. Big up to this crew. Got props non-stop and mad love for you. Now roll back time. Tell me what you find. You're gonna see the same sucker MCs on the sidelines. In the 4th quarter when it's do or die time. That's when this crew is inclined to go prime time. From day 1 straight till it's done. But you all know full well that we only just begun. Yeah. We stick together, one for all for one. When it gets heavy, no, we don't cut and run. Crazy thinking about the places that we've been. Now I could tell you stories that'll make your head spin. But like I said, straight, thick or thin, there's so many memories giving me silly grins. So please allow me to introduce to you my one and only homies. Yo, I love this crew. So please allow me to introduce know how we do. Big up, big up, big up to this crew. From day one till it's done.
Viewer discretion is advised.